And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Seannon Stracener, who had a near-death experience due to a horrific car accident, which we're going to learn about and more. Seannon, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me.
Seannon, let's start on the day that you had the accident and go from there.
On New Year's Eve, I had a lot of destructive behaviors. Drinking and doing suicidal things were a lot of my history. New Year's Eve, I had decided to end my life. I had a dream about the wreck 2 nights before it happened. So now this is the third night on New Year's Eve. And I decided to drink and mix my medication. I overdosed. My mother had found me outside and didn't know that I was overdosing at that time. And she brought me in thinking, oh, my daughter's drunk. I'm just going to let her, work it off and sleep it off. And on January 2nd, 9:30, I woke up and ate my mom's deviled eggs. And she had let me know that she had cooked a little bit for me and wanted me to eat. Deviled eggs was my favorite thing of hers. So I gobbled the deviled eggs up. And she said she thought I went to my room. I don't know where I was going. I do, but I don't. There's a lot of memory loss of mine that I don't know where I was going. I just got in back of a vehicle, and January 2nd, 2020 at 2200 hours, I hit a semi head on. I broke 8 ribs, my right arm, my brainstem, my lungs, my legs, my pelvis. I was in a coma 3 months and 2.5 days. I woke up to the nurses. I came out of a coma from what I understand, and I didn't know what they were doing. And I said, hey, what are you doing? And they were pulling me over to the other part of another gurney, another room, since I was out of ICU now. And I let him know, I could help you. And the nurse said, no, Seannon, you were in a wreck. You were hit by a semi and you just came out of your coma. And I was like, no, there's no way. And I fell back asleep into unconsciousness, and I woke up in the room. I remember telling my mom, when I woke up again and I see my mom over here just in silence, and I look at her and I'm like, Mom, I saw the angels, I saw this, I saw that, and I'm just telling her everything that I'd seen. And at that point in time, I didn't realize I was in a wreck. I was just telling her what I had seen. And even the other nurses would come in and other people would come in, the doctors, and I'm constantly telling them what I'm seeing. And the day of the wreck, I started having flashbacks of certain things of my car. There's a part of my car that's upside down. I sent you those pictures. And I remember looking up and seeing the most beautiful angel. And I'm sorry, Jeff, I get a little emotional about the situation, because I see the most beautiful angel, and he's just in battle form, and he has his Poseidon on my car and his sword, and he has these beautiful, it's a gold iron plate, and it looks like, a Roman skirt. I always think it's a skirt, but it's like the Roman era of the skirt. And his hair, and I'll never forget his hair. His hair was just curly and beautiful and brown, and it wasn't like, at that time I didn't realize that was Archangel Michael I was looking at, but he was just so beautiful. And I see he had a gold band around his head, and I look down and he has these laced up shoes all the way up to his kneecap, and he's glowing, and he's so beautiful. And when he took a deep breath, and I could see everything about him. There was this glow, this blue glow on him, and I knew at that time I'm looking at an angel, and I'm just in awe. And I don't have any pain or any nothing. I'm just in awe of this being in front of me. And he takes a deep breath, and his wings just expanded, just expanded, and it was like a little fluff ball of wings around him. And he didn't say it with his words, his mouth. He said, "Surround her, protect her." And I didn't know who he was talking to at that time. And all of a sudden I hear this and they're just legions of these angels, and their wings just coming down and planting themselves on the ground. And they were just forming domino after domino of and rows of angels. And they're coming around, they're just coming straight down. And I realized the sound was them just planting their ground, their feet on the ground. And um I heard my brothers. I have three older brothers, Kevin and Kirk and Sean. My twin brother Sean had taken his life, and my brother Kirk had also gunshot. It was certain circumstances, but it was self-infliction, is what they said. And my brother Kevin, who died of pancreas cancer after Sean had passed. So that would have been Kirk would have been first, then Sean, and then my brother Kevin. Kevin was the second oldest out of six of us. I'm the only girl. And I heard my brother Kevin say, "We got you, sis. It's okay. We got you." And as I looked to the right, there were these wolves. The dream that I had before I had the wreck, I had a dream about the same night as wolves trying to break into my mom's house. And I looked to the right, and there's those wolves that they were black and with red eyes, and just morphing into each other. And it was so black over here. There was nothing but blackness on this side. And when I'm seeing the first angel, it's just brightness and beauty and sunshine. And when I'm looking at the angels and I'm seeing them come down, there's a blackness in the back of them. But when they're coming down, there's just nothing but, when they land, it's light. It's light. And seeing those wolves morph into each other. There was, I want to say, 6 of them that kept morphing back and forth, and having the red eyes. And when I heard my brother Kevin say, "We got you, sis. It's okay. We got you." Um, I felt peace. I remember a little bit. I was doing another podcast on with Tammy and Jessica, and there was this moment that I had forgot when I came out of that, with my brother, and hearing all that. I remember seeing this building, and it was dark, and it wasn't a building. It was like, where the airplanes go in, and kind of like those buildings where you put those airplanes in, and it was just completely dark. It looked like a huge, kind of like a tunnel darkness, and I kept saying hello, hello, and I could hear others talking, but I couldn't pinpoint where it was. And there was a door there, and it looked like, when you shut the door and there's a gold light on the, like, around the door frame. And I just kept asking, hello, hello, and nobody would say anything. And I just remember just staring, and I could see in the darkness. I could see it was nothing but dark. And at that point in time, that's when I woke up. That's when I believe I came out of the coma. Um, I never knew what a near-death experience was until I met Tammy. I had this, and this isn't a story. This is my life. I have to relive over and over and over again. I'm still broken. My arm, I have metal everywhere. And when I came out of the coma, and I'm talking to my mom, and I'm telling her about the angels, and she's Catholic. She's Catholic. She started listening to me because it was such a I was so adamant of, like, Mom, I saw these beings. I saw the wolves. I saw things that I honestly believe the wolves were the hounds of hell, um, coming to get my soul, because I had questioned God. When you're raised Catholic, and I'm not downing Catholics, I didn't believe in God. I did Wiccan. I did tarot cards. I did speaking to the dead, and so many, bad things in my life of not really doing what I should have been doing, and protecting myself from that kind of negative ways to do, I guess, that form of trying to understand my life of existence. Um, but I was so angry with God. I was pretty ticked off at him, because here's my brother Kurt gone, my twin gone, my brother Kevin gone, and I all those times that I kept trying to kill myself, and continuously destroy my life that way. He didn't accept me. Was I not good enough for you to take home? You keep giving me these tribulations of, where I can go through all this misery and this pain of losing, especially my twin brother. Um, and I asked God, I said, show me you exist. Show me. And he said, challenge accepted. Um, when I came back after getting healed and being in the hospital, I had seen some handprints, huge handprints on my left leg and my right leg. There was 2 on each side of this right leg, and the left leg with the big huge one too. And I was asking my mom, I said, do you see those? Did you guys who did that? And we, at that time, we were just trying to get me better. But when I finally got out of the hospital and I got home, the state trooper had to come and talk to me about the incident. It was my fault. I was drinking and mixing my medications. My blood alcohol was 2.80. And he came and was talking to me, and I had asked him about the handprints. Did you guys do that? Did the EMTs do that? Did the helpers that came to my aid? And he said, Seannon, I was the first one on site, and I honestly didn't believe, you were going to make it. There was so much blood. And he said he held my hand. And I kept telling him, do you see the angels? Do you see the angels? And he really didn't believe in God that much at that time. And at that afterwards, he said, Seannon, after I knew that you were talking to something, you were talking to angels, you were dying, Seannon, you were gone. And we didn't think you were going to make it. I didn't think you were going to make it. And he said, we had to bring you from the back. You were so fragile, we couldn't touch you from here down. So we had to pull you with the, if you saw the wreck, Jeff, the back, they had to pull me completely from the back. And he said, none of us, touched you. We had to make sure we couldn't put you in more, damage to your body, and the fragility of how you were. We just had to make sure you were okay when we pulled you out. I do believe when Kevin said, we got you, sis, it's okay, we got you. I believe it was my brothers Sean, Kirk, and Kevin. I was squished so much into the corner, is what they said of that car. It was a Honda Element. It hit so hard, the engine popped out, which I believe sometimes they're made to be popped out in a kind of in crash like that. But it was so squished, even the metal had squished me into the corner. I do believe Kurt, Kevin, and Sean had pulled me closer away from any more damage. Um, I lived through a whole January 2nd, 2020, 2200 hours. I didn't realize what the 222 meant. My son, who passed away from fentanyl, he had a guitar, beautiful musician too. He had a guitar that said 222. And I never knew the symbolism of that 222 until I reread the police report, and saying, when it said January 2nd, 2020 at 2200 hours, I see that all the time now, 2222, 2222. And I'm just thinking, wow, that was a significant, I think, time frame and date for me to understand that my angels, that God existed, and he exists in my life. And that's who I believe when I died, he said, she's mine. She's mine. She's going to go back, and she's going to tell her testimony. And I do now. I have a lot of people that were Satanists and agnostics and atheists come into my home, and I know a lot of people I don't remember, and some of them I don't remember, but they said, Seannon, we believe in God now. You shouldn't have survived that wreck. So I know a lot of people have a little misguidance of whatever beliefs, and God bless them. I know there's a higher being up there. I know that the angels I saw and the demons I saw. So I know there's a heaven, there's a hell, there's a good, there's a bad. And I got to be on the middle of both worlds. I don't know what my journey is right now, Jeff. I don't. I just know having a certain different outlook of life and death, and certain abilities, certain things that come back. I I now have, well, I've had this ability since I was a kid, but uh I never really exposed myself because I didn't want to be, in the stigma of being crazy, of certain things, of certain gifts that you have, or whatever, how people say psychic, medium, seers, whatever the situation is. I was 5 years old when I first had my, I guess, vision, and my mom had sent me to my room, and she was just punishing me that way. And I just remember sitting on the bed and seeing these about 3 to 5 ghosts. I call them ghosts now. Now, spirits maybe, but they were just playing around and swinging and making me laugh. And my mom pulls open the door and she's like, "Who are you talking to? What are you laughing at?" And at that time, I'm just like, "No one, no one." And after that, from the age of 5 to 12, I don't remember a lot of my childhood because my mother was a very narcissistic, violent woman with corporal punishment that was induced on me, her daughter, Um, and I started drinking too at the age of 12 and becoming an alcoholic by the time that I was 14, 15, 16, full blown, and trying to end my life continuously, cutting my wrist, taking pills, doing what I could to destroy that person that my mother hated, much less I didn't even like. I didn't even know who I was. Um, and I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in with anybody. I was thrown into religion. And when I had my wreck, I started having, of course, since I knew about the wreck 2.5 nights before it happened, dreaming about it and dreaming about the wolves and dreaming and having all these, uh, I guess, firsthand warnings. Um, I didn't realize that it was kind of a vision, of prophesizing of God saying, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. You better straighten up." Um, After everything happened, I would go up to strangers and just be in Walmart or be walking around someplace, and I would absolutely have visions and things that I would see, and spirits and things that were just not of this world, and even their loved ones. I would talk to them, and they'd be like, "You're weird, our loved ones are dead." And I eventually would talk to them about things only they would know, and this person would know, and God would know. And I became a really good friends with a lot of these people that, I've just, "Hey, by the way, um we've become really, really good friends with certain people that wouldn't believe in any of this if I wouldn't have gone up to them and just out of the blue said what I had to say. Um, it scares me sometimes. There's times that I have to shut it off and make sure that I don't, I guess, invoke certain demonic entities. Um, it's hard to admit what I am. Tammy was the first one to not the first one, but I don't want to say I'm psychic or medium or whatever, Jeff. I just know my abilities and certain things in my life have increased, have gone to become so strong. Um, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I never really understood why I was here, and I don't have the idealism of suicide anymore. Or every now and then, it does, but I understand God saved me for a reason. Whether it's to help myself out, help others out, help my journey on where I'm supposed to be spiritually, and know that I died and saw the most beautiful thing that I've ever will ever encounter until the day that God really really calls me home forever. Um, I looked up what Archangel Michael looked like. With a lot of people have this certain idealistic way that he would look like, and not one of those Google searches or anything like that came up to what I saw. um and I know a lot of people wonder, well, how do you know it was Archangel Michael? And I know he had so much authority, and just the way he stood, the way I just know, I felt it. I just know. But there's just a lot of things in my life now that's I don't question anymore. I don't question afterlife. I don't question different realms. I don't question if there's angels. I don't question if there's demons. And yes, there's still some that I've seen, and it scares the living crap out of me. Um, I don't doubt that there's a good Lord, our Father and our God, my Father, Yahweh. I know there's something out there besides us, and living in a world of, I guess, where I was on the edge of death and life. Death knows me very well, and I escaped its grip. Um, so I fight every day. I do. I fight every day for my life, and I'm okay with that. I have good friends like Tammy, and good friends of, my future, and the experience that I've had to go through, and admit what I experienced was death. I died, and I'm here. I'm here, Jeff.
Seannon, thank you for sharing your experience with us. Did you have any type of communication with Archangel Michael? And if so, what was said telepathically or thought to you?
The only thing that he said was, I mean, when he looked at me, the the beautiful eyes, his brown eyes, he didn't say anything with his mouth. He said it, I believe, telepathically. Is that how I would understand? Um, I could hear him, and when he said "surrounder, protector," that was the only communication that we had had. And when he said it, it was so strong and powerful, and authority, surrounder, protector. And right after that, all these angels just started coming down.
Do you fear death?
No, no. I feel the pain to a point, but no, I don't. I I I would love to go home, not by my hands. I would love to go home. I yearn that. Uh, I would love to go home one of these days.
You mentioned that perhaps your dream was a prophecy. Is it also possible that you manifested this, or this was all pre-planned pre-birth?
I'm learning about that from Tammy. I don't know. I know the pain that I had to go through. I know, and I wouldn't ever, I wouldn't ever want to uh go in front of God and say, this is what I want to go through. This is the pain that I want to go through. This is the wreck I want to go through. This is the outcome. I don't know that much. I just, there's a possibility I could have asked for that. I'm learning a little bit more about the predestination, the things like that, and I'm being open to it. But to know that if I hit that semi so dang hard, I flipped it over, and the pain, and who knows, maybe I am supposed to go through this. Maybe I was made into my, how do you say, the contract of this is what I want to learn as a human. This is what I want to learn as, because it changed me. It wasn't that I was this horrible, horrible person, but I was a drunk. I was, uh, destructive person behavior wise. I was revengeful in some form, even though I was loving in another way. I was hell bent on the flesh in me and not spirituality. Um, so I don't know, Jeff. I That could be a possibility. I don't know.
Do you think that you have a mission here, even though
Yeah,
you don't remember what it is, and this kind of puts you back on track?
I I do. I didn't. When me and Tammy, I have so many friends that believe in me, and I really didn't start believing in myself until, and believe in what my mission was, until Tammy and Jessica and a few others that started giving me a little bit more knowledge of certain things, of because they're so way advanced in some form of their own life destiny. um I know I'm supposed to do something. I know, speaking about this, and speaking about what I guess what I'm expecting from this. um I know I have to get this out. I know, having to change, it changed me. It opened my eyes so much of the reality of this world, and the realms of life and death and afterlife. And I know I have a mission. I do. And funny, I asked Tammy when she started kind of introduce me to certain things of who I was, and me accepting my identity. um I I said, before that, I was like, why am I here? What is my mission, God? Why am I here? What do you want me to learn from this? And I'm learning it's to be healing. I'm learning to no, I'm not the only one out there. I'm learning who I am. I'm learning a lot of different entities, different abilities, different reasons of this world and this earth. And I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm accepting a lot.
You mentioned that some of your previous abilities were enhanced, but did you get any new abilities from this NDE?
Yeah, I have clear audio. I have, from what I understand, I believe I was clear vision, but now I have clear audio. I have clear senses. Um, I'm not sure what more I have. I know there's feelings I can feel. There's so many things that I never really knew what they were until, I could walk into a room and I'm just like, ugh, or see something and say, you know what, we got to go this way. I don't feel good. This is something that, and everybody has that intuition, but I never realized how important it was to listen to that intuition, to listen to what your gifts are until this wreck. So I want to say about 5 or 7 different gifts that I'm learning about with myself.
Have the memories of the experience faded over time?
No, never will.
How long ago did this happen?
As of this year, January 2nd, 2020, 5 years ago. It's right there when I think about it, when I think about everything, the wolves, the angels, it's right there, just completely going over and over, just like it's happening right now.
It sounds like you had a religious upbringing. Where
Yeah.
are you now with your spiritual beliefs?
I was raised Catholic. I'm not. I don't put a title on me anymore. I'm not a Christian. Um, I just believe in God. I believe that there's something up there. I believe in aliens. Shoot. I believe in things that are so out of this world, that is not, that people that are closed-minded would not really believe in it existing. Um, I knew I believed in that before my wreck, before my childhood was ruined. I believed in it. I was so innocent at that point in time. But when this wreck happened, because Catholics are like, you're demonic, you're possessed. If you believe this, you're this is against God. You're sinning. You're going to go to hell. You're going to go, and it was just so engraved into me. Um, I rebelled. I rebelled a lot against a lot of that. But now just spiritual. I guess that's what the word would be. I'm a believer. 100%. I'm a believer.
If you had a friend that was grieving over the loss of a loved one, what type of advice would you give?
Gosh. um, there's been so many times when their lost loved ones have come to me. And I still have a really good friend, Lisa and Kay and Rhonda. They'll call me every now and then, and Deb, she lost her son uh to to a violent death, and they'll call me every now and then, and just to talk and say, hey, have you heard anything? Have you, and there's times where I've had to say what's being told to me, either by my guides, my angel guides, or their, those loved ones. I just do my best to give them comfort. I don't think it's comfort. I just give them some kind of form of peace. If it's given to me to give them a sign of like, hey, uh, your son said stop smoking, when I don't know if they're smoking, or hey, you better quit hiding that cigarette. And there's so many things me and Deborah, talk about Lopez, and she's like, how do you know that? And I'm just like, your son. So I do it a lot with humor and compassion and empathy and understanding. I know how they feel. I know my boy is gone. He's off this planet. Thank God. Thank God he's off this planet, and no more pain and no more drug addiction, no more anything. He's home. And that's the only thing that gets me through, is because if I wouldn't have had this experience of dying and knowing what's on the other side, both sides of the good and the bad, heaven, hell, I believe, because of what things I saw. I don't know if there's a hell. I just know the things that I saw were not of God. They were not something that I would be friends with, and be glad to see. But I know my boy's home. I know he's up there with the angels and my brothers and his daughter, my granddaughter. I know that's where he's at. And it comforts me to know what the peace that I felt at that moment when I died. I could just imagine when I really have to go home, how much more of a peace that I'm going to get again. And I get to hold my son. I get to see my son. And that's where I come from when it comes to loved ones that have lost their family members, their loved ones, and my friends who are my family, who have become my family. I know their pain, not just because my loss, but because I can feel, because I know before I experienced this incident, this near death, I was lost like them.
After watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
I'm trying, Jeff. I never realized the impact of my story, my life would be on a few people until Tammy really let me know this is your mission. This is how you're supposed to, and I embrace that. I absolutely embrace anybody who wants to contact me and help me on my mission, because I'm still a little lost. But I know I'm supposed to tell this, and I know through the channels, whoever I reach, I'm okay if they want to reach out.
What's the best way to contact you?
They can get a hold of me at SSHAYBUG2248@gmail.com.
Before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Live your life according to your heart. Don't try to conform to the world. If you know who you are, be happy. Know who you are. On, try to know who you are. If you're lost in that, somebody telling you, hey, that's not you. You got to put a wig on. You got to put this on. You got to put a different face on. Be acceptant of who you are. You're made for so many good things in life, not to suffocate those gifts, not to suffocate that talent, not to suffocate your self-worth. Know who you are and just be okay with it. Run with it. If you have gifts, don't be afraid. Use them. Put them out there. Do what you can to not only heal others, but heal yourself. Just learn a lot about who you are without people telling you who you are.
Seannon, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. God bless.
God bless you. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.